All right, we're diving deep into Doza Crew today, specifically their track Klang der Nacht. But we're not just spinning the studio version.
Oh no, we're going way beyond that.
We have got a whole collection of live performances to unpack, so get ready to explore how the song morphs and evolves in different settings.
It's like witnessing a musical chameleon adapting to its surroundings. It's fascinating how the same song can take on completely different personalities depending on where and when it's performed.
Absolutely. It's a testament to Doza Crew's artistry and their ability to connect with audiences in a way that transcends the recorded track. So, before we get lost in the energy of those live shows, let's establish a baseline. What are the core themes that run through all the excerpts of Klang der Nacht?
Well, the first thing that jumps out is this powerful combination of dominance and sound. Doza Crew isn't shy about asserting their power, especially when it comes to their music.
Right, they're not just playing music, they're commanding attention.
Exactly. It's in their lyrics. Lines about owning the streets, ruling the night, and making the city tremble with their bass. It's as if they're claiming ownership of the urban landscape, especially under the cover of darkness.
And it's not just metaphorical, right? They actually talk about their bass shaking buildings and windows rattling from their
Oh
sound.
yeah, it's very much a physical experience they're describing. They use words like blocks trembling and fire in the asphalt.
hmm
It's like they want their music to be felt as much as heard.
It's almost like they're trying to physically imprint their presence onto the city through sound. Very cool. Now, along with that dominance, there's this strong sense of collective identity.
You're picking up on the we and us that's woven throughout the lyrics.
Yeah, it's like this pack mentality, this crew rolling through the city. But then you also get these flashes of I, moments where individual members step forward to showcase their skills.
It's that push and pull between the collective and the individual. It speaks to the dynamic of the group. They're a united force, but each member has their own unique talent and energy that shines through.
And speaking of energy, can we talk about that AU call?
Ah, yes. It's like their sonic signature.
It pops up throughout the excerpts, but its usage is so varied, almost strategic. Sometimes it's a hype up, other times it's barely there. What do you make of that?
Well, it's definitely a way of marking their territory, of letting you know this is a Doza Crew track.
Yeah.
But its variability adds this layer of intrigue, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like they're controlling the energy of the performance, emphasizing certain moments or pulling back when they want to create a different vibe.
It's like a conductor guiding the orchestra, shaping the dynamics of the piece.
Love that. Another thing that struck me is this recurring theme of speed and living on the edge. There's this constant sense of adrenaline, like they're always pushing the limits.
You're picking up on words like cruising, racing, flying, burning, that are peppered throughout the lyrics.
It creates this sense of restless energy, of always being in motion, which feels very connected to their desire to conquer the night.
It's not just being present in the city at night. It's about dominating it. It's about setting the pace, leaving their mark on every corner.
So we've got dominance, sound, collective identity, and this need for speed. But are there any elements that maybe contradict these dominant themes, add a layer of complexity?
There are. And this is where it gets really interesting because beneath all the bravado, there are these hints of vulnerability, moments of introspection that add a new dimension to Doza Crew's persona.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Tell me more.
Well, they project this image of power and control, but they also talk about feeling lost at times or haunted by the city's whispers. It's almost as if they're acknowledging that even in the midst of all this outward confidence, there are moments of doubt and uncertainty.
That's so fascinating. It humanizes them in a way, doesn't it?
It does. It reminds us that they're not just these invincible figures, but individuals navigating the complexities of life, just like the rest of us.
It makes their music even more powerful, more relatable, and that vulnerability, I bet, takes on a whole new meaning when experienced live.
You're right, it does. It creates this connection between the performers and the audience, this shared sense of humanity that transcends the music itself.
And speaking of layers, we can't overlook the poetic language that's woven throughout their lyrics.
Oh, you're so right. It's like they're juxtaposing these aggressive themes with these moments of vivid imagery and wordplay, adding a layer of artistry that goes beyond just the surface level.
It shows that there's more to Doza Crew than just bravado and swagger. They're storytellers, using their music to paint a nuanced picture of urban life.
So we've got this fascinating blend of dominance, vulnerability, and artistic expression. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We've only scratched the surface of what these individual excerpts have to offer.
Each performance offers a unique lens through which to view Doza Crew and their music.
Ready to dive deeper into those individual performances? Absolutely. Let's see how these themes manifest in each specific setting and what new insights we can uncover. All right, let's fire up those speakers and zoom in on those individual excerpts, starting with Fractal 63. This one explodes out of the gate. What hits you first?
It's pure sonic energy. They're spitting verses about counting bills at night and chasing the rush. You can practically feel the heat from the dance floor through the recording.
Yes, and the lyrics here are laser-focused on pushing boundaries and breaking rules. Like when they rap about crushing rules like twigs beneath our feet, it's that rebellious spirit, that challenge to authority amplified tenfold by the live setting.
And don't forget that it's weaponized here, especially in that opening line about their untouchable beat. It's like a sonic battle cry, a declaration of dominance right from the start.
And it's not just a shout, it's a specific pitch that resonates with the bass line. It's like a sonic weapon they're firing off, and then they layer in descriptions like blocks trembling and windows rattling. They're not just playing music, they're trying to make you feel it in your bones.
It's like they're trying to physically imprint their presence onto the city. But then, amidst all that sonic aggression, they drop this line about city lights being witnesses. It's almost as if the city itself is an active participant in their performance.
Ooh, that's a great catch. It adds another layer to their relationship with the urban environment. It's not just about conquering, it's about coexisting, about engaging in a dialogue with the city itself.
It's like the city is both their inspiration and their canvas. Now, while Fractal 63 is all about raw energy, their Ground 000 performance takes on a different flavor. What are your thoughts on this one?
This one feels like a showcase for individual skills. The focus is on intricate rhymes, clever wordplay, and boasts about their lyrical prowess. It's almost like a friendly competition within the group, pushing each other to new creative heights.
You're right, they're treating verses, showing off them unique styles. It's like a verbal sparring match, but with a playful energy. And the audience interaction is really amped up here too. They're telling the crowd to raise their hands and feel the beat. It feels like they're actively trying to create this collective experience of euphoria and release.
They're feeding off the energy of the crowd, and the crowd is feeding off their energy. It's like a feedback loop of excitement and shared liberation.
It's amazing how you can hear that energy shift in the recording. Okay, get ready for another change of pace because home base is where things get really interesting. This is their home turf, and you can feel that sense of comfort and familiarity in the performance. They're looser, more playful, even incorporating crowd sounds and ad-libs into the mix.
It's like we're invited to a private party with the band. It feels like a homecoming celebration, a chance to let loose and connect with their core fans. There's less emphasis on aggression and dominance, and more on shared joy and celebration.
And the lyrics reflect that shift, right? They talk about laughing echoes, spinning wheels, and leaving their mark on every street. But it feels less like a conquest and more like they're just reveling in the journey, the thrill of movement and creation.
Exactly. It's like they're painting a sonic portrait of their neighborhood,
Yeah.
celebrating its energy and vibrancy. There's a line where they talk about the asphalt singing and every street having a story. It's like they're turning their home into a living, breathing character in their music.
It's a beautiful tribute to their roots. But hold on tight, because we're taking a detour to Shelter 66. This one takes a darker, more introspective turn.
The energy here is definitely more internalized, focused on exploring individual emotions and aspirations. They talk about feeling like a king in their own neighborhood, but there's a sense of isolation, even loneliness in their words.
You're right. It's like they're using the darkness and intimacy of the venue to confront their own vulnerabilities, to explore the shadows within themselves. And that signature, a you call, here it becomes this haunting echo, almost mournful, as if it's bouncing off empty streets.
It underscores that feeling of isolation, of searching for connection, but finding only their own reflection. It's a stark contrast to how they use it at Fractal 63 or Ground 000.
It's amazing how that one sonic element can take on such different meanings depending on the context. But just when we're getting lost in those shadows, they pull us back into the light with Slurm 64. This one feels almost like a victory lap, a celebration of their hard-earned success.
Yes, there's a newfound confidence and swagger in their delivery here. You're talking about diamonds in their sights and knowing their name is whispered on the streets. It's like they've finally reached the top and they're savoring the moment.
And they're not shying away from their success. They're embracing it, even flaunting it a little with those references to gold and glory. But it doesn't come across as arrogant. It feels more like a well-deserved victory after years of grinding.
Right. It's a statement of accomplishment or a recognition of their journey and the impact they've made. They've earned their place at the top, and they're not afraid to own it.
It's incredible how each of these excerpts paints a different picture of Doza Crew. It's like they're showcasing a different facet of their personality and artistry with each performance.
It really highlights the power of live performance as a medium for exploration and evolution.
Yeah.
It's not just about playing the song, it's about embodying it, reshaping it to fit the energy of the space and the people in it.
They're masters of adaptation, constantly pushing their creative boundaries and connecting with their audience in new and exciting ways.
And that's what makes these live performances so captivating. It's like watching a butterfly emerge from its cocoon, transforming right before our eyes. But now that we've explored each excerpt, let's step back and consider the bigger picture. What does this deep dive tell us about Doza Crew's artistry, their connection with their fans, and the meaning of Klang der Nacht itself?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What insights have we gained from going beyond the studio recording and immersing ourselves in these raw, unfiltered live performances? It feels like we've gone on this sonic journey, experiencing Klang der Nacht in all these different dimensions. It's definitely not just one song anymore.
It's like it has a life of its own, shifting and adapting to each environment, to each crowd.
Speaking of that adaptation, let's go back to that ayu. It's such a distinct part of their sound. Do you think they're consciously using it to manipulate the energy of the crowd, like a conductor's baton?
It's an interesting thought. It could be a deliberate choice, a way of signaling shifts in the music or amping up the energy.
Right, like they're saying, all right, everyone, get ready to jump.
Exactly. But it could also be more instinctive, a reaction to the vibe they're getting from the audience.
So maybe a bit of both. A deliberate artistic choice mixed with an intuitive response to the energy of the room.
It's like they're having a conversation with the crowd, feeding off their energy and giving it right back to them.
And what about those moments of vulnerability we talked about, those hints of uncertainty beneath the bravado? Do you think those land differently depending on the setting?
I think they do. In a smaller, more intimate venue like Shelter 66, those moments feel amplified, more exposed. It's like they're letting their guard down, inviting the audience into a more personal space.
Whereas in a high-energy environment like Fractal 63, those same moments might get lost in the chaos.
Maybe, but I think they're still there, adding a layer of depth that a careful listener can pick up on. It's like a secret message hidden within the music.
It reminds us that even the most confident artists, the ones who seem invincible on stage, they still have their doubts and struggles.
It's that shared human experience that connects us, even across genres and generations. It's what makes music so powerful.
Absolutely. So, after hearing these different versions of Klang der Nacht, do you think the song takes on different meanings depending on the context?
I think it definitely does. Each performance is like a new interpretation, a fresh perspective on the same core themes.
It's like they're inviting us to participate in the creative process, to explore the song alongside them and find our own personal meaning.
That's the magic of live music, isn't it? It's not fixed or static. It's a living, breathing thing that transforms with each performance, with each audience.
So we encourage everyone listening, go back and listen to these excerpts again. Pay attention to the nuances, the way Doza Crew interacts with the crowd, the way they adapt their performance to each unique space.
And ask yourself, what does Klang der Nacht mean to you? What story does it tell you? What emotions does it evoke?
Because the most powerful interpretations are the ones we create for ourselves. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Doza Crew and the many faces of Klang der Nacht.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep listening.